Christmas Eve, 1945. The war was finally over, and a sense of relief settled over America. In the small town of Fayetteville, West Virginia, the Sodder family prepared for a joyous Christmas. George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants, had built a good life for themselves and their 10 children. Their home bustled with activity, the air thick with the aroma of Jenny's cooking and the sound of children's laughter. Presents lay scattered under a brightly decorated tree, promising a Merry Christmas morning. Little did they know, this festive night would descend into an unimaginable nightmare. As the younger children drifted off to sleep, their older sister, Marian, tended to their needs. George and Jenny stayed up, enjoying the quiet after a long day. Around midnight, the phone rang, jarring the peaceful silence. A woman's voice on the other end inquired about someone George didn't know. He dismissed it as a wrong number, but something about the call unsettled him.
I reacted instinctively, racing through the inferno to save my family. I managed to pull my wife, Jenny, and 4 of our children to safety, but 5 of our children remained trapped inside the inferno. Desperate, I searched frantically for a ladder I kept propped against the house. It was gone. I raced to my trucks, hoping to drive one closer to the windows and rescue my children. But fate, it seemed, had turned against us. The trucks, usually reliable, refused to start. Each sputtering engine fueled my despair. With the fire raging, I made a last-ditch effort to call the fire department, but the phone line was dead. By the time firefighters arrived, the house had been reduced to smoldering rubble. The intense heat, they said, would have incinerated anyone trapped inside. The 5 missing Sodder children were presumed dead.
As the smoke cleared and the initial shock subsided, a chilling realization dawned on the Sodders. Too many things didn't add up. The missing ladder, the faulty trucks, the cut phone line. What started as a tragic accident began to take on the sinister shape of premeditation. The phone call, once dismissed as inconsequential, now echoed ominously in their minds. Who was the woman on the other end, and why did she ask for someone who wasn't there? Whispers of arson began to circulate through the town. Adding to the growing unease was the lack of physical evidence. The fire, while intense, had not consumed everything. Household items, even bones from their Christmas dinner, were recovered from the ashes. Yet, there was no trace of the missing children. No bones, no teeth, nothing.
I clung to a mother's hope. I had heard stories of people surviving fires, their bodies protected by unusual circumstances. Perhaps I thought desperately, my children were still out there, alive but lost.
The authorities, however, remained unconvinced. They maintained that the fire's intensity left no chance of survival. The children, they concluded, had perished in the blaze. Their bodies, they speculated, had been completely incinerated.
But I refused to accept this explanation. The fire chief himself admitted that they found a heart-shaped organ in the ashes which they buried. Years later, we had the soil from the supposed burial site examined.
Weeks turned into months, and months into years. The Sodders, haunted by unanswered questions, refused to give up hope. They scoured missing person reports, chased down every lead, however improbable.
Our search took us to neighboring towns, across state lines, even to different parts of the country. We just couldn't let it go.
Their persistence began to yield intriguing, if inconclusive, results. Witnesses came forward, claiming to have seen the missing children in the days following the fire.
I remember seeing them on a bus heading out of town. They looked just like the Sodder children.
A waitress at a roadside diner recalled serving a group of children matching their descriptions.
They were quiet, but they definitely looked like the missing kids. It was so strange.
These sightings, while offering a glimmer of hope, only added to the enigma. Were these genuine sightings of the missing Sodder children, or were they figments of a community's collective imagination, desperate to offer solace to a grieving family?
Each new lead, each potential breakthrough seemed to evaporate upon closer examination. Our children remained elusive, their fate shrouded in mystery.
The Sodders, however, refused to let the trail go cold. As time marched on and the case remained unsolved, theories began to sprout like weeds around the charred remains of the Sodder home. Some theories, fueled by whispers and speculation, centered around George Sodder's past.
My outspoken criticism of Mussolini. Some believed it had made me a target of retaliation. Had someone sought to silence me by taking away what I held most dear, my children?
Others pointed to rumors of organized crime in the area. The Sodders, they speculated, might have been caught in a web of mafia activity, their children kidnapped as leverage or punishment.
It was a terrifying thought, but we had to consider every possibility.
One theory, however, gained significant traction over the years. It centered around a possible insurance scam gone wrong.
The disappearance of the children became an obsession for Jenny and me. We dedicated our lives to unraveling the truth, chasing down every lead, every whisper, every fleeting hope.
They hired private investigators, consulted with psychics, and even offered a reward for information. Each dead end only strengthened their resolve.
Years later, a new development breathed life into their fading hopes. A woman from a nearby town contacted the Sodders, claiming to be their missing daughter, Betty.
She bore a striking resemblance to the missing girl and shared certain physical characteristics. A DNA test, however, proved inconclusive. The woman, it turned out, was not Betty.
Though devastated, we refused to be deterred. We continued our search, our hope flickering like a candle in the wind.
Their unwavering dedication came at a cost. The financial burden of their search took its toll, forcing them to sell their business and depleting their savings. George Sodder passed away in 1969, his heart heavy with unanswered questions.
I continued the search until my death in 1989. Our children, forever marked by the tragedy, carried on our legacy, determined to uncover the truth behind that fateful Christmas Eve.
The case of the missing Sodder children became one of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries. Decades passed, but the question lingered. What happened to the 5 Sodder children on that cold December night? Was it a tragic accident, a cruel twist of fate, or was it something more sinister, a deliberate act that snatched away 5 innocent lives?
The passage of time did little to diminish the mystery. If anything, it deepened the enigma, allowing speculation to flourish in the absence of concrete answers.
The case attracted the attention of amateur sleuths, journalists, and true crime enthusiasts, each hoping to crack the code and uncover the truth. The disappearance of the Sodder children serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring nature of hope in the face of unimaginable loss. It stands as a stark example of how even in the most seemingly ordinary of settings, darkness can lurk, secrets can be buried, and lives can be irrevocably altered in the blink of an eye. The case continues to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. It serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that even in the age of information, some mysteries refuse to be solved. The Sodder children, their faces frozen in time on a faded billboard, became a symbol of unanswered questions, a haunting reminder of the elusiveness of truth. The truth behind the disappearance of the Sodder children remains as elusive today as it was on that fateful Christmas Eve in 1945. Was it a tragic accident? A series of unfortunate coincidences that conspired to create an unimaginable tragedy? Or was it something more sinister? A deliberate act fueled by revenge, greed, or something more sinister? The lack of concrete evidence, the passage of time, and the deaths of key witnesses have turned the case into a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. We are left to grapple with the fragments of information, the whispers of speculation, and the haunting possibility that some secrets are destined to remain buried forever. The case of the Sodder children continues to fascinate and frustrate, reminding us that some mysteries may never be solved.